Hello, I'm Dr. Bianchi. I'm the vice president of the school board. I'm also a parent of a child at St. John's School and also a parishioner of St. John's. In the last couple months, I've been facilitating the process to develop a strategic plan for St. John's School. Now, it's interesting that I start this presentation off with a slide that says strategic plans don't work. I heard that a couple times. All right. And so I went into this process realizing that most people don't think strategic plans do anything. But I think if we are true to the ideals that we set out, the strategic plan is going to not only work, but it is also going to improve the St. John community and its school. So, what were those ideals that we set out? When I began, I said, first, I want to listen to your ideas. The school board and myself, we didn't have any ideas coming in, right? We wanted to hear what people had to say. So, all the goals came from either parents or staff members, right? Something that you maybe said at the listening session directly came and is now in the strategic plan. So again, this was not a top-down approach. This was a community effort. The second thing I really wanted to do was less. So this was my big push. I said, we do too many things. If you do too many things, things fall through the crack or they're done poorly. Let's do less and let's do it better. Okay. So again, it's pretty short. It's only about 3 pages long, but we're going to make sure that we do everything on those 3 pages and we're going to do it well. The third thing is that I checked in with the principal, with the staff members, everybody involved to say, hey, can we actually accomplish these goals? If they said no, then we made adjustments. So we made sure the goals were attainable. Lastly, we wanted to make sure that every single goal and objective and outcome was linked to a specific person or specific role. So that person is accountable to make sure that it happens. And at the end of the year, the school board would check with those individuals and say, are you doing it? What are the results? So we have measurable outcomes connected to individual people. And if we follow through on all these things, the strategic plan will work. So the first thing is we just refined the mission statement a little bit. We said that St. John's School inspires all students to become missionary disciples of Christ through an engaging, nurturing, and exemplary Catholic education, one student at a time. Very, very similar. There was a couple adjustments that we made based on feedback. And lastly, this slide, we also came up with a motto, forming disciples of Christ. So you're going to start seeing these around. The first goal was academic excellence. Now, I'm not putting everything here. I'm just putting the objectives, the things that we hope to do. So there's a goal and an outcome in addition to the objectives. All right, so we're pushing for higher standards. Now, a lot of people talked about testing, but we didn't want specific test scores and then a hit or miss. What we wanted to see instead is the principal delivering an annual State of the School address. And she will share at that address the standardized test results, survey results, teacher feedback, and in addition to that, a plan to address areas that need improvement, but also to celebrate the strengths. Okay, so we want to hear about the good things that are going on, but also where can we make improvements as well. So it's not so much a specific target that we're writing, but a plan for continual improvement. Secondly, a lot of people talked about critical thinking skills. And the way we're going to implement this is these multi-day projects, right? Sometimes we have, what almost seems like busy work, word finds or something like that. But we want projects that just don't fill up the time, but take a week or 2 weeks, and the students really go deep. They learn some incredible skills, such as work, research, collaboration, critical thinking. So students are going to be exposed to these every single trimester. The school board is also going to check in with families of students that have graduated from St. John's. All right, so if your student graduates from St. John's and goes to the school they want to, that's great, and we celebrate that. But how do they do freshman year? Are students doing well freshman year? I think that's the true measure of our academic success, that they go on to high school and they are successful. For Catholic identity, we focused on 2 things, recruitment and rituals, right? Creating a Catholic culture involves people, so you need the recruitment. And secondly, rituals. That is how you develop a Catholic culture. So the rituals have 2 aspects. There's going to be a planning session in August where basically students, but also families are going to be able to encounter Jesus in these experiences that go beyond religion classes. So we're going to create more opportunities, and there's a big list there. And the main point here to deliver this is that we'll have a planning session in August to lay out a plan for the year. And at the very bottom, I'm going to skip to the last point, is we're going to come up with a prayer where we ask for God's grace, all right, to live a Christian life and to care at the school's mission. So faculty and staff will create this prayer, the St. John's prayer, and then students are going to start praying this every day at different functions. It's something that the whole community is going to get behind. And then recruitment, all right? So we're going to really look at why St. John families in the parish or homeschooling families aren't coming to St. John's School. So if we want to build up a Catholic culture, we need to have the members of our parish that have children coming to the school. Okay. And then thirdly, when in the hiring process, we're going to adjust this to look for people to join the school that not just Catholic, but really want to be part of the community. Okay. So we're looking for staff and faculty that aren't just going to teach and leave, right? We want to see them at church. We want to see them at church functions. So your kids can interact with them, not just in the classroom, but really become part of the whole entire community, not the separate spheres of the parish and the school, but integrating them and having people that buy into that vision. All right, governance. The big thing here was communication. Over and over, we saw communication. So the school is going to establish a leadership team. A lot of pieces are already in this puzzle already in place. Okay, so we have a principal, assistant principal, we have a middle school lead, and we have a pre-K director. So we have to recruit and find an elementary school lead. And now when we have the structure, it's really important in case the principal gets sick. We'll have a structure in place where we can have somebody fill in, right? And everybody can kind of move up. And so this will really help pass on school knowledge. Within this leadership team also is going to be a mentorship program for new faculty members. All right, so this is really passing on institutional knowledge. And if one person is missing, the principal gets sick or something happens, the school doesn't shut down. We have a whole system in place where the leadership team can fill in. Okay, so this is about internal communication. All right, establishing a leadership team and a structure of communication. Then with the outside communication, the school is going to establish a school communication team with an identified leader, and we have a lot of outcomes there. Very importantly, I think one thing is a survey in terms of communication. So there'll be an annual survey going out to the community, say, how are we communicating? How can things improve? All right. So look for better communication, both internally and externally. All right, then in terms of buildings, we were going to focus on maintenance and security. So the one part that there's a lot of maintenance involved, there's a lot of big projects coming up. We realize that the facility manager is going to have to develop a pretty robust plan. So looking at where we're at in terms of the big projects coming down the line, but also just the regular annual maintenance. Okay. And so this plan is going to be put into effect. They're going to develop this, the maintenance manager, and then he's going to look at the urgency, the cost, the staffing. Maybe we have to hire somebody. Maybe we have to get some contractors. But basically coming up with a strategy, a long-term strategy to address all the needs for the buildings. And then we're also going to maintain a secure environment that prioritizes safety and well-being of students. So we're going to work with law enforcement to do an annual assessment of the school based on safety. Okay. Also, in the mix here is also looking at grants to improve the safety of the school as well. All right, in terms of financing, we want to emphasize development and marketing. So we are going to hire a development officer, and they are going to look at new ways of giving. So this isn't just, we do a lot of fundraising, but this is really development, trying to get, for example, alumni donations, which we really don't have. So just looking at other forms of giving, I think this position will pay for itself. We're really starting at a pretty low point in terms of our development efforts currently. So I think we can only improve. The second thing is marketing. We don't really have money to hire anybody in marketing. So the way around this is to form a marketing advisory group. So we're really looking for parents or community members that have a background in marketing to develop this advisory group, to do a study, and then basically develop marketing material. So if the big push is around December and January in terms of new students, we'd work backwards. So sometime around September or October, this group would meet, study, come up with material and strategies, and then provide that for to be pushed out, like I said, November, December, and January when we're getting new students, new families. So again, we don't have the money for this, so we're looking for volunteers to join that marketing and advisory group. All right. So thank you so much again, Dr. Bianchi. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out. I will also send out the full strategic plan, which has all the goals, objectives, and outcomes. And again, we are looking for volunteers for that marketing advisory group. All right. Thank you so much, and God bless. Bye.